And welcome to the How to Do Well on the Week 5 You Decide assignment. I'm doing this video because I think that students have had a problem in the past with understanding exactly what to do on this assignment, and I know they can do much better if they were given just a little bit more direction. So let's get to it and let's see exactly what we need to do well on the assignment. Now, let me just first say that what you need to do initially, which is something I've already asked you to do in my first announcements in the classroom, is to outline all of the legal principles and concepts that you have in your chapters. Now, this particular assignment will have to do exclusively with agency. So you have to have an outline of all of the rules of agency uh, uh, at your side so that you can use it to do well on the assignment. Without that, it'll be very difficult for you to go back and figure out what law may apply to a given situation, and we have several in this particular incident. So with that in mind, let's go to the actual assignment. The first thing you're going to do in the assignment is you're going to be giving us a statement of the facts. Now, the statement of the facts is, you think, wow, that's certainly redundant. We have a transcript of it, we have it in oral form and all that sort of thing. But that's not what we have to worry about. The reason why we do that, and the reason why we have you restate the facts, is because, frankly, you need to restate the facts in your own paraphrased form so that you understand them better. And then you can use them as part of your work, essentially. And so I'm going to make this a bit bigger for you so you can see it. Um, it's something that the legal people do because they always need to go back to these facts all the time. So we want you to restate the facts, but we'd like you to paraphrase the facts yourself. Rather than just do a cut and paste from the actual transcript, just go through and summarize the important facts from the scenario. Anything that might have any legal significance, you put those facts down in your own words, or at least paraphrased, so that it gets into your brain as to what it is that the facts are, and that you can go back and refer to them. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to state the issues, and there's a little bit of an issue on the issues. Let me give you these issues here real quick. Um, you're going to state the issues. You're going to actually put them out in writing, so that you have them there, so you can make sure that you answer all of them. Every issue is a question, and you are to answer each of these questions. And we're going to see that we want to be able to do that directly, both in terms of what law applies to resolve that question, and then how did you analyze the facts and the law to come to a conclusion. Those will all be very important. So you want to do these one at a time. You could almost sort of number these if you wanted to. You could, let's say, instead of giving a number, let's just maybe give them a letter, so that we can go through and we can take these same issues and we'll put them down under the other section of our work, which is going to be telling us what law applies and then what our analysis is. So let's go down to that right quick so we can see how we're going to do this. And by the way, you can just take these issues and just cut and paste them. There's no reason to expect anything more or less than that. That's the issues are one question long, and there's not a problem with that. So let's go back, put this as a number. We'll number that, and it's giving me trouble. Okay. Let's just leave the numbers off these for right now, just make them bigger so you can see them. All right, the law that applies to each incident. So what you've got so far is a statement of the facts, paraphrased. You've got a statement of the issues. Now, let me just go back into the issues for just a second. These issues are actually listed on the assignment, but there's one that's missing from the assignment itself. So I want you to know it, so you can brief it. And that is, will Software Inc. be liable for the ring that Coleman stole from the mall? Remember, Coleman was on his way doing his duties. He stopped by the mall and he stole a ring. Technically speaking, that's the tort of conversion. So he did a tort while he was employed, presumably on his way to doing his work. So presumably still possibly within the scope of his employment. So that's another issue that you won't find listed, but it is there. So I want you to make sure you have all these. Now, by the way, this template right here, I'm going to have this template in Doc Sharing, so you'll have this for you to use. All right, it won't be a problem to do that. Okay, now the law that applies is going to be as to each issue. So you're going to take each of the issues and you're going to relist them. And then under each one, you're going to put in what legal concept would we need to know on the wrongful termination. You may want to put in something having to do with some law. This is where you're going to be doing some research, because you're required to get two sources for research. This is one that you will not find in your book necessarily, or at least all the work that you would need to have. But what is wrongful termination? You want to go look that up. So you'll want to actually do some research on that, and then come up with whatever laws you find that are applicable to wrongful termination, and then decide whether wrongful termination happened in this case. But first you're going to say what law applies. And then you're going to do another section called the analysis, where you, let's just put that there, and let's make this bigger so you can see it. In that analysis, you're going to do the same thing as you did before in terms of actually putting the issues down. And this should actually not be there. We'll just have to get that out of there. But the issues are restated again so that you can list them out. And when you list them out, then you know which ones you're talking about at any given time. So it makes it real easy. And these are all the issues. Actually, what we'll do is we'll just do this, and we'll put these back at the right kind of A, B, and C. All right. So then under this one, you're going to now put in the analysis. You've got the law. You've already stated what the law was up here for your first issue. What is wrongful termination? What are the laws regarding wrongful termination? And then you're going to look at the facts. You're now going to decide whether the facts are sufficient to allow you to apply the law of wrongful termination or not. And then you're going to come to a conclusion in the analysis section on each of these issues. Okay. So you're going to need to know all the laws that apply. You need to know all the agency laws for sure, and we'll go over those in just a minute. Now, the last part of this is that you need to have at least two sources that you will be required to cite, and cite in APA format, both in text and references page. So don't waste any points on that one. If you need something to help you on that, citationmachine.net is a very good place for your APA format. If you're weak on APA format, just use citationmachine.net. Put in the information from your sources. Of course, first decide what kind of source they are. Click on the right button so you get the right boxes coming up to tell you what you need to put into the boxes. And then it'll actually create your APA format, both references page and in-text citations for you very easily. So don't waste any points on that one. That should be the easy part of all of this. Okay, now, again, we have to get the concepts of agency involved in here. So I'm going to show you what you're going to see as your thread summary at the end of the week, so you can see what we've gone over as sort of an outline of what are the principles that we would go over. Now, let's make this a little bit bigger for you to see. And let's see if I can do that real quick. Something like 14, like there. Okay. Now, here's some of the things you want to know. Express agency is the most common. Here, the agent has the authority to actually contract. That's very important. If they actually have the authority, then they are an express agent. Implied authority is one where the agency is implied from the conduct of the parties. Somehow, whatever they were doing implied very, very well between the parties that there was an agency on the part of the person who was operating for the principal. Then the apparent agency arises when the principal creates the appearance of an agency that does not actually exist. It means they either do something or they fail to do something. It typically happens when we have a terminated agent, where they go out and still say to everyone that they're still our agent when they're not. And if we didn't do something to warn everybody that we had terminated this agent, then we have essentially created the appearance of the agency by allowing that to happen. So we can get an apparent agency that way. What you're going to find is Coleman is an agent. He's actually an employee. That won't be hard for you to figure out. The only thing that you'll need to know is that the principal is liable for any contracts entered into by the agent and any torts committed by the agent while the agent was working within the scope of employment. So if they're working within the scope of employment, they're actually doing their job in some fashion, or that's what their intent is when they commit the tort, then the principal will be liable for that tort. Very important. Now, if it's an intentional tort, which is one of those torts where we know what we're doing is wrong when we are doing it, something other than negligence or gross negligence, then the rule is that the principal is not liable for intentional torts, such as assault and battery, so long as the agent was not attempting to actually foster the principal's business in committing the intentional tort. So, for instance, one intentional tort is fraud. It could be that we send out agents to go sell things for us, and while trying to sell something for us, they lie to people about what the thing is all about and get people to buy it and defraud them. Then the principal will be liable for that because the agent was actually doing the work that the principal wanted them to do while committing the intentional tort. So intentional torts would not normally be something a principal is liable for if it's simply an independent act having nothing to do with the scope of their employment. But otherwise it would be. All right. There's lots of other concepts that we have here that I want you to go over. They'll all be there for you. This will actually be in the template for you to use if you'd like. And also you want to augment this with any other concepts that you find in the chapter that you might be able to use. So what you do then is you're going to be called upon to do your own legal reasoning of a situation that you've never seen before, and you can't go look up in the cases like you have so far been able to do on your written assignment. So this one is one that usually throws the students quite a bit. That's why